filthy, filthy cheese. Gouda, halloumi, cheddar. Oh, the dirty, dirty fondue under the sun. The shit that makes you itch under your skin, that makes you mad, that makes you sad. All of the filthy cheese and just how frustrating it is when you don't know how to stop it. I know how you feel. Yesterday I did a disgusting guide on how to all-in Terrans for the Zerg players with a dirty one-base Ravager rush. Today we're going to look at how to stop it so that I don't get an inbox filled with angry messages from people saying, fuck you, why do you teach people how to cheese? Teach them how to play the game properly. I don't get many messages like that, but I do get some, and I get a lot of I'm kind of joking, but I'm not really joking, and you should really stop telling people how to all in. So guys, let's talk about it. Now, the Ravager rush, it's been around for a while, and it's been causing some people some issues. Let's take a look here at a tweet from a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, from Daishi, right after the new map pool came out, and he said, I need a tutorial on how to counter Ravager rush on Paladino. Me to know. And he actually tagged me in a response to this, and I woke up one morning and was like, oh yeah, I haven't really played much on that map yet. Let's look at it. And I looked at it and was like, well, that's a tiny map. I remember at some point Cass had a really good piece of advice down here as well. I can't find it anymore. I don't know if the tweet was deleted, but he basically said, you need to, he's like, I've got a really good counter. He's like, you go into your map vetoes and you turn Paladino off. It's really good. You should try that hard counter. It works very well. Optimus here was saying you've got to make bunkers and pray. So when Paladino first came out, everyone was a little bit like, oh shit, man, what do I do to hold on against the one-base Ravager on this map? It's tough, it's hard. And that's why we need to look at the exact ideal, perfect, beautiful, sexy response for it. So let's dive straight on into game, where my black screen transition is going to take forever to pick up my game. But it does finally work. There we go. I thought that would disappear today. So it's good. I've figured out to get rid of the freezes and all that sort of stuff happening. That should be good. So anyway, guys, big shout out to Base Trade TV. This is one of their replays. I got it from being a Base Trade TV subscriber. If you guys want a lot of great replays from all sorts of top players, go and subscribe to those guys. They're amazing. They send out replays every couple of days for all the tournaments they do. It's great. And the fact that we have top level Korean replays coming out of the scene now is just awesome. So this is Leenock versus Keen. It's Paladino. It is the shortest rush distance on the map pool. Now, you're going to see this one-base Ravager rush on other maps as well. You're going to see it on Belshire Vestige. Hell, I've even seen it on Newkirk Precinct, which is quite a long rush distance. There's a lot of different two-player maps players are doing it on. And what we're going to see here is Keen defending off the most standard opening right now, which is a gas first, so gas barracks. Now, this is the most typical opening at the moment. And I do think it is probably one of the best ways to defend as well, is doing this, because it allows you to get a very fast tank out. So let's take a look through and let's see exactly what happens. Keep in mind, Keen hasn't SCV scouted yet. So you always do need to SCV scout at the latest when that barracks finishes. You'll notice he sends this SCV across the map and immediately he sees two Zerglings, but he tries to continue scouting because it's important for him to see if there's no natural. That alone will give him warning of what's going on. Okay, it's a one-base all-in. Technically, it could be one-base Lingbane. Technically, it could be other things. But you always want to just assume it's the Ravager Rush, since that's the most powerful one-base all-in. And your response to that will keep you safe against a Baneling Bust as well. So notice back at home, he's gone directly for a factory. So let's look at this from the moment he confirms there's no natural, right? So he's building a Reaper. And notice it times out. As the Reaper pops, he's spotting the natural. He's gone for a standard 19 command center there, or 20 command center, sorry, 20 factory, and then he goes, oh shit, no natural. And look at this, immediately lifts up his barracks and actually pulls it away so that it can't get blasted down by corrosive bile. And he builds a bunker right there on top of that ramp. He's going to build a second depot here as well. And this is something where he just wants to stop those Ravagers being able to run past into his base. Because whilst they might not be able to overwhelm the bunker straight away, if they run past and they get inside and stop his siege tank getting out, then he's going to be in big trouble. In the meantime, his Reaper goes across the map, picks off the Zerglings. Of course, he saw the two Zerglings coming, so he had to leave it at home at first. And then he's going to use his Reaper bombs to delay these Ravagers. Of course, you don't always get a chance to go across the map with this Reaper. Let's go back just a little bit and take a look at what he does. from when that Reaper first comes out. So because those Zerglings chased the SCV, that's why he knew he could go across the map with the Reaper. He said, the Zerglings bothered to turn around, therefore my Reaper can come out and be annoying. So this is always really great. If the Zerglings ignored the SCV and kept coming across the map, he would have to stay and defend his command center. And he's just going to try and damage these units as much as possible and slow them down with his Reaper bombs. Do apologize, guys. I'm on that point where you've got a sneeze that's so close to coming out, and you're like, ugh! Yep, so he's going to go home. Cool. Notice, no reactor, no tech lab, no add-on on this barracks, just constant marine production. Because this rush hits you so fast, you just need to get marines out as quickly as possible. If you build a reactor, it kicks in and becomes efficient very quickly. The problem is the reactor, it can often die, and it's really important to have 2-3 marines out as soon as these Ravagers get here. You'll notice here, as long as you start your command center right on time, that will be able to finish, and then you can lift that into your main base. And it's very important you pull over 4 or 5 SCVs to repair your bunker as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, the factory is going for siege tanks and constant marine production. And notice that micro, he keeps dodging the bile, so he'll pull back for a moment and then go back to repairing. And he'll steadily pull more SCVs over here to repair as well. And this is really important to buy time. If these Ravagers start shooting the SCVs or targeting them, he should be pulling back those SCVs. But doing this forces more micro out of Leenock. There's more chance Leenock will accidentally walk into bunker range, and that's going to make a really nice bit of damage. A really cute adjustment that Keen makes here is his Reaper. Once he feels like his wall's not going to get broken, he's got his bunker up, he's repairing it, his Reaper goes across the map, so when he has a bit of spare APM, he can jump in the main and start picking off the already very tiny economy of Leenock. That's something you guys do not need to bother doing, but it can be a nice bonus if you do it. So notice here, let's go back a little bit. Let's look at some of these details in a bit more. Second gas geyser. So factory went straight into tech lab. Now remember, there's no orbital in this command center. You need that minerals. You need every bit of minerals you can. So that command center will have to wait until a lot later before you make an orbital. And he went for a second gas at about 3 minutes. So around the same time that tech lab is almost finished, he puts down the second gas to make sure he can keep building siege tanks. This second bunker is a sort of backup bunker. It's just there in case this bunker goes down. This attack is almost always completely all in from Zerg, so all you need to do is defend. This is about buying time. You accept that this wall will die. And around this point, once these depots start dying, you should start building another depot immediately. Notice Keen realizes it's only a matter of time till this other depot goes down. He will be supply blocked after that, so he's already got that other depot going. Now this siege tank here, you're going to notice Keen derp around a little bit with it. He's going to be like, rah, rah. He realizes he needs to get it, even there is too far exposed to the ledge. This is a really great position by Keen, because the only way Ravagers could corrosive bile it is maybe just barely if they go right up against the edge. Preferably that siege tank would still be one more space to the left, so that's even harder to do. So the only way the Ravagers can get in range of that tank is by walking up the ramp into marine fire, into potentially SCV's body blocking, and the siege tank splash. So that's your siege tank's job. And you'll notice the wall goes down at this point. The bunker, he's miraculously still keeping it alive with 8 SCVs repairing, still building marines, tanks, still no orbital command center. And now he sends the Reaper in, does a little bit of micro there, says, you know what? You were already all in. Now you're even more all in. And even though this bunker will go down, you'll notice it always hits this point where it's like, oh god, Zerg has 8 Ravagers, he can one-shot the bunker. As long as your siege tank, your stuff isn't in range, you just keep some SCVs, some marines here, and if the Zerg tries to force his way up the ramp, you attack into him on the ramp. You don't let him up into the open where he can blast your siege tanks down and run past into the open. Because if he gets over here, those Ravagers can micro against the marines and SCVs really well. But now, as multiple siege tanks get up, you'll notice the SCVs here body blocking, like I was talking about. Don't let him run up that ramp. Let the siege tank splash do maximum damage. You can afford to lose SCVs. And behind this, because he's keen and he has sick APM, he was still killing drones in the base. GG, Tasteless. I have a runny nose. I don't know why. So I'm trying to keep the camera off me for a second. One sec. There we go. Alright. So, that's the key points to the defense, guys. I've also got a clip of an alternative way of defending, which I do want to show you quickly. So this is from Innovation's stream. I'm going to show you guys just a very small little highlight of the Innovation God stream while we talk about a few of these points. So you have to sub to get access to Innovation's VODs. I am a Innovation subscriber. Not because I like to learn from Innovation, because honestly, when I watch Innovation, it's a lot like watching Life back in the day. You learn nothing. There is literally nothing you can learn from watching this guy play StarCraft. He's just like, I am faster and better than you. Obviously, like, his builds make sense, his reactions make sense, but he survives a lot of situations that your average GM will never survive because he's so good under pressure, and he's looking incredible right now. So we're going to see him here. He does the SCV scout. He sees it's one base, and he goes, okay, there's some roaches coming. Immediately goes for that second gas. His Reaper's staying at home the whole time because he thinks there's probably 2 Zerglings on the map that are going to come and try and hurt him. And immediately, once again, bunker at the front. Now, what's interesting here is because he's scouted quite a bit later, he's already gone for a reactor, which I normally much prefer Keen's way of doing it. You know, faster siege tanks, slower, you know, just single Marines coming out one at a time. But he actually starts building Cyclones here as well. And I really don't think this is the best response. And I think this is the sort of response where you can get killed. Because what we're going to see here is this Zerg actually does a really weird version where he just builds the 3 Ravagers. They hit so far. So this is like the same build order. This is either a 12, I think it's a 12 pool. It could potentially be a 13 or 14 pool. But either way, they're pretty much the same build in terms of how you respond as a Terran. It's like there's no economy, there's no queen behind this. But the Zerg actually doesn't build any more units, and he doesn't transition. So, and he does transition, sorry. So rather than getting up to that 8, 9 Ravagers like we saw Leenock get to last game, he kind of just tries to kill as much stuff with 3 Ravagers as possible. And Innovation, with his great micro here, manages to defend. He does a lot of move forwards, move back micro. Once he has a Cyclone, a few Marines, and a Reaper out, he's like, you know what, I can just fight you in the open. I'm actually mining my natural this whole time. So I really feel like this was terribly blundered by the Zerg player to not have more Ravagers here. You can see just how well those Ravagers micro against Cyclones, because you can shoot their shots in volleys. They're a great stutter step unit. Whereas the Cyclone, even though it moves and shoots a lot better than it did when it was first released in this new version, it's still terrible at moving and shooting, as you can see here. If there was 2 or 3 more Ravagers here, Innovation is down shit creek. He doesn't have a paddle. He's scooping handfuls of poop around, and he's generally having a very bad time. So yeah, it's tough. If you've got Innovation's godlike micro and players maybe aren't committing as much and just doing a pressure with it, this might work. But this is the exact same scenario we saw yesterday in the daily where we were showing how it worked, where Major held with Cyclones and Marines, and then he didn't commit quite enough, and he died to the next wave of Ravagers that came, because this is such an all-in attack normally. So do remember with your bunker placement, guys, you always want to place that at the ramp. Do remember to get a siege tank up usually. Try to pull your barracks and factory back. So the problem here as well with the setup Innovation had, let's go back just a little bit to set up. The factory and barracks are both in terrible positions. Like, they can go down to Ravager bile. So if he has to abandon his reactor, move his factory, that's going to be a big gap in his production when he's already kind of on the verge of death. So that's something where I think Keen, with the way he moved that barracks back, is the absolute best, safest way to respond against this. And it works out exceptionally well. I'm looking through my notes and I'm saying there's absolutely nothing I haven't talked about. I'm like, there's got to be more information in this. No, not really. It's a reasonably simple reaction, but it's something which takes practice. You need to scout. Otherwise, you are down shit creek and you do not have a paddle. Not at all. So anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed today's daily. Let me bring up my chat, see if there's any absolutely insightful questions. There really shouldn't be, because it's like a 10-minute daily where we literally just like, this is how you stop push. There's not that much to ask. So anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out. Hopefully you enjoyed that. You can stop the cheese. There will be a bunch of videos going out while I'm at Katowice. I'm at Katowice, or I'm going to Katowice tonight. My flight is in like 13 hours or something like that. So I'm going to record a few more videos today and send those up. But yeah, there should be videos going up on my channel, not on Twitch, but on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe on YouTube, follow all my videos there, follow my Twitter and Facebook, and I'll be sharing the videos there every day when I post them as well. But guys, thank you very much for hanging out. Don't forget to hug a watermelon, kick a walrus, and of course, punch a cactus to the moon. Before I go, actually, ICYFAR, send in replays, guys. You've got until about like the 9th of March to send in replays. The challenge is a gentleman never attacks without warning. So you always have to send a unit in front of your army, dance the unit before you attack. So you've every single game, you basically, your opponents are going to see it as you taunting them while you're there like, God damn it, I really want to kill him right now, but I've got to send a unit forward, let it finish a dance animation and then attack. It's going to be fun. It's going to be stupid. Send me in your dumbest, most ridiculous replays of that, and hopefully they will be cast in next week's show. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Goodbye.